Welcome once again to the gift that keeps on giving, the Weather Report, where I do my best to try to rain down knowledge and wisdom to all of you out there. Today we're going to discuss the NBA, we're going to hit on the NFL a little bit, and then finally I'll discuss the biggest story in sports right now, the scandal at the Penn State University. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. NBA lockout. Look, right now it appears that the season is going to be lost. It doesn't appear that the owners and the players are going to be able to come together. If the season is lost, you blame the owners. The players, I feel, have done everything that they can to meet the owners halfway. The owners seem hell-bent on, getting their way and their way only. How do you have the players come down from 57% BRI, basketball-related income, willing to come down to 50%? Now, granted, when we're talking about percentage, it doesn't sound like a lot. But we're talking, we're talking millions and millions of dollars per percentage points. Some reports have said 100 million per percentage points. I've read 40 million per percentage points. Whatever the case may be, it's more money than I've ever seen in my life. So when you have NBA players who are actually out there putting the product on that we watch and we buy tickets for and we buy jerseys for on an every night basis, and they're willing to give up those millions of dollars because they want the season to actually start and happen, and then you have owners who are too greedy to realize that, hey, we created this situation. We were the ones who gave out multi-million-dollar contracts to, Jerome James of the world and to Eddie Curry's of the world, who turned out to be nothing but waste of talent and spaces. When they realize that they created this drama that we are seeing unfold right now, that's when maybe they'll realize that, this 50-50 split, not a bad idea. Hey, giving the mid-level exception to luxury tax paying teams, hey, maybe that's not a bad deal after all. Blame the owners because they're at fault right now. Moving on from that, NFL. We'll talk about some of the biggest disappointments that I saw on NFL Sunday and Monday. First biggest disappointment, Albert Haynesworth. He's been the biggest disappointment for the last couple of years, all right? I knew, and I told anybody who would listen a couple of years ago when Washington gave him that big contract that he was not worth it. The man, essentially, yes, he's a dominant defensive tackle when he wants to be. But that's the key phrase, when he wants to be. The NFL isn't about when you want to be. You have 16 games to show up, play hard, show that you're worth millions of dollars. And he did that for one season, got rewarded for it, and now he's gotten fat, lazy, and, now Washington's cut him. You have probably the best head coach in the NFL, Bill Belichick, who said, you know what, I'm done with you. You're cut. Now you got the Buccaneers who picked him up. Do we really think that he's going to turn out to be anything? Now, what, is he motivated now? No. Why would he be? He still has millions of dollars in the bank from Washington. New England gave him some money. Buccaneers are going to pay him, I believe, $700,000 for the rest of the season. Really, what's his motivation? He's going to sit up there, be a cancer in the locker room like he's been the last couple of years, undermine what that team's trying to accomplish, and actually accomplish zero on the field. Get rid of this guy. Get him out of football. He's a cancer. He's worthless. Next biggest disappointment, the Philadelphia Eagles. Come on, man. Really, come on. I picked you to win a division, and this is how you repay me, Philly? You're 3-5 right now. And honestly, you don't look good enough to have the 3 wins that you do have. All right? I don't know what you got to do. I said that early in the season when Philadelphia was underachieving, when is Andy Reid going to start getting some of the blame for underachieving teams that he's had in Philadelphia through his tenure? I'm going to say it again. When is Andy Reid going to start taking some blame for the underachieving teams that he's had in Philadelphia during his tenure? All right? Maybe it wasn't Donovan Nash's fault. Maybe it wasn't all his fault. Maybe it's not Michael Vick's fault. All right? Stop being so quick to blame everybody else. Let's look at the common denominator. That's all I'm saying. Andy Reid's been the common denominator as far as I'm concerned. When is he going to start getting some of the blame for this? It's an underachieving team. I don't agree with the fact that they went out and signed all these players during a shortened offseason, but they did it. Now you got to suffer the consequences of a team that's underperforming. Maybe there should be some changes, mix some things up around there. You don't have anything to lose at this point. At this point, they really have to go 7-1 in the remaining 8 games of their season in order to reach the playoffs. And that right there is honestly a slim hope because the New York Giants are playing lights out football right now. Next business disappointment, Kansas City Chiefs. 31-3 loss to Miami. Miami of all teams. Suck for luck. was their motto heading to the game. Now they're on top of the world because they defeated a team that was winning their division before Sunday. I don't know what it is about the AFC West or the NFC West. I don't know what it is about the Western divisions in the NFL, but they seem to like to play down to their opponent. The only team that seems to be playing up this year is the San Francisco 49ers. Not bragging. Moving on, Buffalo Bills. They laid an egg against the New York Jets. Right when I start believing in them, they decide to kind of show me that not so fast. Last week, I said that I finally came around and I thought they were going to beat the New York Jets for a playoff spot. Maybe I spoke too soon. The jury's still out on the team. Like I said at the beginning of the season, I love what that team has done. I love the talent they've assembled. A bunch of no-name people who have come together and actually are becoming stars. Fred Jackson and put himself in line for a new contract. One of my favorite wide receivers in the league, Stevie Johnson, a.k.a. Mr. Why So Serious. I love what he does on the field. Mr. Fitzgerald as a quarterback, Ivy League educated, playing with his wedding ring on. I love it. Maybe they're not ready yet. I've always said that young teams in the NFL have to learn how to win. Maybe this is the year they learn how to win. Next year they come back, hit the playoffs. But the season's not over. We'll see what happens. Oakland Raiders, Carson Palmer. I told you last week, he is not the answer in Oakland. I don't care if you listen to me or not, but tomorrow night when they play San Diego, you will see he's not the answer. Phillip Rivers, yeah, I can't talk about Carson Palmer and then give you a pass. Yeah, pick your head up, get your head out of your butt, start playing better. You're, MVP candidate every year, and this year you decided to play, I don't know, like Mark Sanchez. Go figure. Last biggest disappointment of Sunday, New England Patriots. All right. Hey, you can't stay on top forever, right? They still next week. I think they'll rebound, they'll bounce back. But also say the same thing on Sunday. New England's realizing that the streets are not always paved with gold. You have to earn it in the NFL. That this in years like this. I think they'll be fine. I still think they'll make the playoffs. But the road's getting a little bumpy now. Let's see how they respond. Moving on from the NFL, Penn State, big scandal right now. Joe Paterno announced today that he's stepping down at the end of the season to retire. I disagree with that move. I think he should step down effective immediately, and I'm gonna tell you why. Joe Paterno has a history of minimizing serious actions by players and staff. All right, case in point, and I got this from a story that Michael Rosenberg did on SI.com. All right, a few years ago, wide receiver for Penn State, Tony Johnson was arrested for DUI. All right, this is Joe Pa's quote after he was arrested. He said that he's going to discipline Mr. Johnson, and I'm going to read this quote verbatim so I don't mess it up. He said he's going to discipline him just because, and I quote, just because I have to send a message to the squad that is inappropriate to be out in the middle of the night, or in the middle of the week, having a couple of drinks, unquote. A couple of drinks, okay, I give you that. The man's blood alcohol level was .136, nearly twice the legal limit in the state of Pennsylvania. That's not a couple of drinks. That man was hammered, all right? And then he got behind the wheel, could cause serious damage, all right? I've been involved in a DUI accident. It's no joke, okay? I was hit by a drunk driver. It is no joke, all right? That man he put lives at risk on the road. And to minimize it by saying a couple of drinks, come on, Joe Pa. Next example. Florida State linebacker A.J. Nicholson, accused of sexual assault a couple of years ago. I believe it was 2006, if I'm not mistaken. This was Joe Pa's quote. Now remember, Joe Paterno coached at Penn State, not Florida State. But this was his quote. There are so many people gravitating, and I quote, there are so many people gravitating to these kids. Maybe he didn't know what he was getting into, Nicholson. Somebody will knock on the door. A cute girl knocks on the door. What do? Thank God they don't knock on my door. I'll refer them to a couple of other rooms. So unquote. So you're telling me you got a player who's accused of raping a young girl, but because she possibly knocked on his door, it's excused? No, that's not how things fly. All right, this is not how it works in this society. All right, Jerry Sandusky was witnessed sodomizing a young 10-year-old kid in a shower on Penn State's campus. Joe Pa was notified. He did nothing. I don't buy I told my boss, so I'm done. No, all right. I have kids. Joe Pa has kids. If you know of something like that going on, you do something about it. You don't tell someone and then just be done with it. You go find out. You go confront the person who was accused. You know, I'm not letting the witness off the hook either, because he could have easily reported it to the police as well. But the fact that nothing was done in 2002 is pathetic and sad. And Joe Pa, you deserve to be stepped down. And I'm close. You know what? You deserve to be prosecuted because you didn't do anything to help this kid. And don't tell me that you apologize and you feel sorry for the kids. You should have felt sorry for him in 2002, where you could actually done something to stop it. All right. Now that I'm done off my soapbox, that's it on that. Yo, I appreciate you guys tuning in at this edition of the Weather Report. Stay tuned next week, or for next time. We're gonna talk about the NFL some more. We'll probably dive back into the NBA a little bit. And other than that, stay on the lookout. Twitter, Facebook, website, all that. I'm still on my cyber hustle. You know what I'm saying? Help support your boy. Thank you all who have supported me. And that's it. I'm out.